dizzy, 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 all. And if I...
Hello gentlemen and gentle ladies, my name is Sir Stanger, and I just wanted to talk today about some quick and easy things you can do to improve your spy gameplay at its most fundamental level. Now, I'm primarily going to be going over loadouts and weapon combinations that you can use to help improve certain aspects of your spy gameplay, and keep in mind, this is mostly my opinion and things that I use personally when I'm trying to improve certain aspects of my own spy gameplay. So if this doesn't work for you, by all means, continue doing what you are doing, or go find something else that works better for you. This is just what works for me, and what I hope will work for you. Now, this is my first legitimate instructional video, actually trying to detail some ways to help you get better at the game. Unless you count my How to Be a Pro Spy video, which was very informative, in my own opinion. I think a lot of people benefited very greatly from that one. But this one in particular, I'm hoping to help, build people up a little bit from the... that was a really high-level spy gameplay video. I know not everyone's quite at that level just yet, so I wanted to build people up from a slightly lower level, a more standard beginner level, and see if we can get everyone up to that standard so we can all be a pro spy, if you know what I'm talking about. So this is the first loadout we're going to be going into. This is the Stealth Spy Loadout. Now, this is the one I'm going to suggest that you use most frequently, especially if you're trying to really practice just getting better at spy. This is going to help you, in general, just be a better spy, have better timing, and just make your stabs altogether better. The Your Return of Reward really forces you to have better planning, so that you don't just go stabbing, willy-nilly, getting into bad situations without paying too much attention. And the Machete, or however the hell this is pronounced, this just gives you a little bit more breathing room so you can have some time to make planning for those stabs. Now, if you're feeling more confident, you can go for an ambassador with this loadout. This is what I personally do, because it lets me do more damage while at the same time, having to deal with this problem of constantly having to be stealthy. But that's just what I personally do. You can go with this if you're feeling confident with your stabbing. But the way that you should be using this loadout is all of the time. Now, I'm not saying you can't be using other loadouts, situationally, but the way that I ended up training up as spy is I was using my ambassador, Your Return of Reward loadout pretty much 24/7, no matter what the situation was, forcing myself to find a way to make this knife work, and it put me in a lot of tough situations. And let me tell you, I think I'm a better spy overall for it, because I had to figure out how to stealth my way through a lot of situations. I killed a lot of sentry nests, killed a lot of combos, finished off a lot of really talented players using this loadout. And the reason is because I had to spend so much time planning. I was constantly training myself on how to plan ahead, make sure all of my stabs were well-timed, and that I didn't just go in and get myself killed. Now, you're going to get that done anyway. That's going to happen to you all the time while using this loadout. There's really nothing you can do about that. It's not an easy loadout to use. That's the point. You're using a tough loadout to use because you're trying to get better. If you keep using easy stuff, you're never going to improve. So that's what this loadout is completely for. Now, it's important to keep in mind to start from the back of the team while using the Your Return of Reward. Now, I noticed this sniper hanging out in the back of the red team, so I decided to go for him because he's a pretty safe stab. He's got no razorback on, nobody's really looking at him, so I can go for a pretty quick and safe stab. Now, the demo man noticed me, I bumped him there a little bit, but he's still not going to chase me, he's not going to be able to find me, so we're good, we're solid. This allows us to get deeper into the enemy team, especially with a sniper loadout. We can hang out in the back without getting noticed too much. And it's also going to get us a couple free stabs, like this one here, this soldier. No idea that I'm a spy, which is always a good time. Now, due to the extra cloak that the Machete gives you, you can usually outlast most opponents that are looking at you. So while the soldier right here was looking at me, I was able to stay cloaked the entire time, and you're able to manage your cloak a lot easier. That's the reason why I put it in this loadout for training, because I think it's just so useful. Oh, right here, this is going to be, I'm just going to take the high ground and wait it out, because I had that extra cloak. Lets me get these two good stabs, and then I'll get a good body shot from this sniper. But that happens, you're going to die. Now, I do really want to stress the importance of this loadout, because I feel like there are just too many dead ringer spies out there right now who are just kind of throwing stealth to the wind, and they're really easy to track, they're really easy to find, they decloak super loud, and it's no fun. It's no fun to fight those spies, and it's not even interesting because there's so many of them. You just assume that a spy is a dead ringer these days because it's that overused. But a truly stealthy spy, one that you have a real hard time keeping track of, that's a nightmare right there. You don't want to be dealing with one of those, and the best thing you can do for your spy gameplay is to become one of those. Become a spy that cannot be found. Now, bear in mind as you watch this video that these tips are not exactly aimed at competitive spies or professional spies or anything like that. This is mostly aimed at the casual spy, just those trying to get better. You don't even need to be new to the game or, have a very few amount of hours in spy to be watching this video, but you do need to want to become an overall better spy, and while the Eurotunnel reward is not a good knife to use in competitive by any means, it is a good way to teach yourself how to become a better spy and to use the knives that are viable much more effectively. So, on to our next loadout. This is our gun spy loadout. Now, I went over this a little bit in my loadout video, if you bothered to watch any of that, but this is the loadout that you're going to be using to practice the Ambassador, so to get better with this gun right here. Now, you don't have to practice with the Ambassador. It's a good gun, but, the stock is just as effective. I mean, this is a reskin of the stock, but the stock Revolver is just as effective at doing what you need to for spy. But there are situations that call for a bit better damage over range, and so it's good to practice with this gun regardless of whether or not you want to use it all the time, just so you can use it for whenever it would be most effective for you. Now, I personally use the Ambassador a lot. I find myself able to land a fair amount of headshots. I am no sniper main, so I don't land all of them by any means, but I do land a good amount, so this actually is a fair trade for me. Taking the damage penalty for the crits on headshot is worth it for me, so I use the Ambassador quite a lot. So this gun spy loadout is going to increase your survivability with the Spycicle and the Dead Ringer, so that way you can practice with the Ambassador longer in pubs. And it really is as simple as just taking this loadout, going onto a pub, and trying to land headshots. It's really that simple. I don't feel the need to linger too much on this one just because I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. The only way to get better at aiming is to continue practicing. So this loadout just lets you stay alive a little bit longer so you can get more shots in that could be potential headshots that you could be practicing on. Now, the rest of it's kind of up to your opinion, how you personally feel about it. If you want to change your crosshair, if you want to change your sensitivity, all that stuff, all of that is up to the individual player and what they're most comfortable with. So I'm not going to tell you how to land headshots better. There's like 1.5 million videos for doing that way better than I could ever tell you. So just go look at one of those. I'm sure they'd probably be able to tell you that a lot better than I can. But this is how you're going to get the chance to get more of those shots in. Next up we have my trick stabbing loadout. Now I'm not a trick stabber. I do not go for trick stabs very often, and there's a reason for that, but I'll talk about that in a minute. This is the loadout that I use to put myself in situations that are generally bad. The kunai gives you a really low amount of health, so you are always in danger of dying. The Dead Ringer, it's good because it lets you stay alive longer, but at the same time it doesn't let you get into good situations very easily, so you find yourself, without cloak, without being able to dead ring quite often. So if you match that with the kunai, you have 70 health, plus all the times you won't be able to, dead ring, and you have a lot of really dangerous situations to be putting yourself in. Now, the Revolver, I just have the stock Revolver on here. To me, it doesn't really matter what you use on this loadout for the Revolver. I just have this on here because I like the Revolver on this particular loadout. Maybe you want to use the Latron J or the Diamondback, or, you have a different opinion, and that's totally cool. This is just what I use personally for when I'm trying to practice trick stabs, because I think that the best way to practice trick stabs is to put yourself in a situation where a trick stab is required to get out of it. Not that you go and try and bait someone to some stairs and try and stair stab them, because 99% of the time anyone who knows what a stair stab is going to see right through that, and they're going to kill you because they know what you're trying to do. So the best way is to just purposefully put yourself in crappy scenarios that you're going to need to try and trick your way out of. It's the most legitimate way to practice a trick stab that I could possibly think of. Now, personally, I find that the two most reliable stabs that there are is going to be the Matador stab and the corner stab. Now, the Matador stab is where you quickly, you try to lead your opponent on to the right, and then you do a quick stab to the left. I'm going to go into the pyro here in a second, but the corner stab, I think, is the most reliable type of backstab, and I think every spy should practice corner stabs because it's the trick stab that I think is going to be most reliable in the most situations, and it's the hardest one to see through because it's just so sudden. It can really take you by surprise. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that really like to do stair stabs, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but they are really easy to see through most of the time. It's really hard to pull a surprise stair stab. Now, if you're really good at stair stabs and you can oftentimes, get the upper hand on your opponent with one, by all means, go ahead and practice with it. But I personally do not find much success with stair stabs, so I don't really have any footage of it. But this is the loadout I would suggest practicing with it anyway, because you're going to be putting yourself in a situation you're probably going to need that stair stab to survive. So your instincts are going to kick in, and you're gonna do better overall just because of that. Now, the last thing that I want to throw in, just a quick tidbit to bear in mind, is the Prinny Machete. Now, I know this weapon is basically a joke. It looks really funny on Spy, and that's half the reason why people use it. I mean, look at this thing. It's ridiculous. It's just too big. It's bigger than his head, honestly. It's stupid. I love it, but it's stupid. The one thing about this knife is that they forgot, or they on purpose did not give it an animation to show when it is ready to backstab. Now, that is quite an advantage, and you might not realize that. Now, it's not an advantage when you're using it, but it's an advantage when training with it, because a lot of spies, they rely too much on the animation to show them when they're ready to backstab. But if you have this weapon, you have to rely solely on your knowledge of where the game registers a backstab. And if you attack solely based off of when you know the game is going to backstab, even if the game isn't telling you it's going to backstab, you're going to land a lot more backstabs. So it's just a good weapon to train with, honestly. I've been using it a bunch, and it's actually really tightened up my stabbing. It's actually, surprisingly enough, I've actually seen some improvement with it. So, it's like $2 on the market, or whatever the in-game store is, the Manco store. It's like $2. Let me check. I think it's $2. Let's take a look together. I'm fairly certain. What is it under? Items. It's $2. It's $1.99 if you're in the United States. I'm not sure what that transfers over to another currency, but that's how much it costs right now. So definitely go and give this weapon a shot if you can afford the $2. I know some people that are completely unable to use this new machete because it doesn't have the backstab animation that they're used to. I mean, we went from having something similar to this to having this. Just nada. Now, I think that's hilarious. I think it's great that there's this super weird one-off knife in the game that doesn't follow all the same rules as all the other ones, but it's just a stock knife reskin. I think that's great. If you don't want to use it, then by all means don't. I know you actually have to pay money to get it, or you're going to have to trade to get it. I think you can craft it, but I haven't seen one that's been crafted yet. So, I mean, you can give that a go. Maybe you can prove me wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure you can craft it, but I don't know for sure. But I find this knife to be... It sharpens your skills. It really does. It makes you rely more on your sense of where the back is on a person, rather than the game letting you know exactly when you can stab. And you really shouldn't be doing that to begin with. I don't know if I like the fact that there is the backstab animation anyway, because, well, I mean, the animation's fine. Like, the animation where you actually kill them is fine, but the notification where you raise your arm and you're ready to backstab, I think it's too much. I think it takes too long for the arm to get all the way up, and I think that you as a person can move faster than that, and you can get a lot more backstabs by completely ignoring the fact that your knife has been raised. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. Let me know if I missed anything. If there's anything that you think, any loadouts that you think are really good for practicing certain aspects of Spy, any aspects of Spy that I missed, making a loadout to practice on, I'd be more than willing to do a part 2 if I missed enough. I mean, if there's more you guys want to know about, I want to tell you guys about it. So just let me know down in the comments if there's anything you guys want to know about. Also, I see that I have hit 100 subscribers, which is pretty exciting. So I'll have the Steam group information up here pretty soon, and I will be making a 100 sub video. So you can expect to see that here pretty soon. I'm not going to make that my weekly video, so you should see that before next Tuesday. I'm not sure when just yet, but look forward to that. So 100 subs, big deal. I really appreciate it, guys. It's been a wonderful and wild ride, and I can't wait to bring you more videos. And with that, let's keep the internet classy. I'll see you then. Strange Fire and Killstreak kits for the pretty Machete, please. Volvo!